Okay, want to call the Conservation Commission meeting to order. This meeting is being held in person. The meeting is being recorded and streamed by the Millbury Public Access Cable Television. It's available on public access channels Charter 191 and Verizon 26. Meeting attendees may also participate remotely, online, via Zoom, or by phone. The Zoom meeting ID is 818-4460-4116. I'll repeat that, 818-4460-4116. And if you wish to use your phone, the number is 301-715-8592, and enter the meeting ID. And *6 you can use to mute and unmute. And I'd like to ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Every day.
First item on our agenda is for a McCracken Road extension request for the orders of condition. The Millbury Conservation Commission will conduct a public meeting on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, at 6:30 PM at the Municipal Office Building, 127 Elm Street, Millbury, to act on an order of conditions extension request for the McCracken Road Rotary Project. Said work falls under the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Ronald Stead, Chairman. So, are we ready to entertain a motion to grant the extension?
I believe somebody is on the line to
Oh, okay.
talk on this.
Hi, good evening. Casey Verdi with DHB, just here representing Tracy Capillotti and Adele Brochu from MassDOT. I don't think they can make it this evening, so just if you have any questions.
Okay.
please let me know.
I don't think we have any questions, but are we okay?
I think you're all set. We went through the tolling period, and so we would have ended up needing this somewhat later, but if we give them a 3-year extension, it should be plenty of time for their replication areas to grow and then take care of it, and this should be the last time you have to deal with it before a certificate of compliance is issued.
It sounds good because we'll be able to monitor the replication for a few extra years.
Yes, exactly.
Good. Any questions from the board?
I don't have any.
I don't know if anybody's on Zoom, but it doesn't look like it.
There is not.
So I'll accept a motion to grant the extension.
So moved.
And is there a
Second.
any further discussion?
Do we have to close the hearing first before we do that?
Excuse me.
Procedurally.
It's an extension request, so it's not really an advertised meeting, so I don't think so.
Oh, I hear you've read the thing. So, okay, we're good
I'm
then.
glad you brought that up, though.
Yep, thank you, Jim.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. Very good.
Great, thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you very much for coming, appreciate it. 2 Wilson Road, pre-amendment review. So where are we at on this one?
So, a couple of weeks ago, David Perkins called me up asking what would be the ramifications of moving the house about 10 feet.
Yep,
And because of ledge, it was going to take him a lot of time and effort. And I went out of form. I told him that I thought it would be a minor change, but later I had to confess that I was at the outer limits of my authority, so I should bring it to your attention. So I brought it to the chairman's attention. He asked for a revised plan. I passed that along to Mr. Perkins, who did not respond until the other day. And I just got off the phone with him, and he did not substantially move the foundation. He just went ahead and hammered out all the ledge. So the house is probably within a foot or so of where it indicated on a plan. So there's really no change. So this could go away unless the commission thinks otherwise.
sounds like this is something that he's probably also gonna have to bring to the planning board, because even a slight movement.
Perhaps,
Yeah. Well, anyway,
but he didn't do it.
questions from the board?
So just so I'm clear, the work that he's doing, the work to remove the ledge, he hadn't gotten anything yet for it, or he already had an order, order conditions?
So he had an order of conditions
Yeah.
from this commission for that entire project. He's putting up
Right.
a duplex house.
Yeah, so the original plan was for him to remove the ledge.
He didn't know it was there. The original
Okay.
plan was to put a house in a certain location on the plan.
Okay, all right, good, that answers my questions, great.
And instead of moving it 10 feet, he decided to attack the ledge, basically.
Exactly.
So,
Is he close to any wetlands or anything, by that 1 foot, whatever?
There's a isolated land subject to flooding, and there's an isolated wetland. But it doesn't really meet the criteria for regulatory jurisdiction. So we're protecting the isolated land subject to flooding primarily for storm damage prevention, is what that project turned into. And so they were able to deal with stormwater issues. There's a possible vernal pool in that area, but it hasn't been confirmed.
so basically, if we decide to take no action, we probably won't see this on our next agenda.
Correct.
So anybody want to make a motion on this?
Do we need to make a motion on
No,
this?
no, we don't.
I don't think so.
No. Paul, you all set?
I'm all set.
Yeah,
Okay,
cool.
okay. Which brings us to the Conservation Agent's report. I just want to, before you do that, in case the people on Zoom or who are watching us on one of the cable networks, as you can see, there are only 3 of us, and that's because the other 2 members have recently resigned. One member had to resign because that member moved to another community, and then another member just chose to resign. So, if you're interested, you should contact the town manager, is that, or should come into the
Or
conservation
this
office?
office will be happy to
Yeah.
help them go through the
Yeah, you might
process.
want to, yeah, come in
Town clerk,
and visit, well, first, I think they should visit the conservation
right.
office and meet Dawn and Robin, and maybe want to ask some questions, but You don't have to be a engineer or anything like that. You just have to be somebody who wants to help your neighbors, if you will, with their projects, and at the same time, help them protect the wetland. So it's not a lot of heavy lifting. It's kind of fun sometimes. We don't have much controversy, because whatever.
I feel like you're jinxing us, Don.
Yeah, I know, I shouldn't have said that. But seriously, I think anyone would enjoy it. There's no age distinction or sex distinction or any other kind of a distinction. If you're interested and want to commit to a little community service, I think you'd enjoy it.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, please do. Yep.
If there's some young people out there just came into the town of Millbury, this is a good opportunity for them to, if they want to give back to the town, this is a good place to start. And we have openings, and so come on down, talk to us, and get your foot planted in the town of Millbury.
And I would say, from my experience, and I don't even remember what year I started, but it's been a few, you get to meet a lot of nice people.
Yeah.
So I've got to know a lot of people, and, well, anyway, if you're interested, please come in and talk to Don and Robin, and they'll set you straight. Okay, Conservation Agents Report. Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Events of importance, I have not gotten an update on what happened with the tree removal from the Sutton Conservation Commission. I'll have to pester her for that. 100 Riverland Street, Hampshire Crafts had an open house. And they had, I think he said they had 30 people from the neighborhood in attendance
Beautiful.
at their open house,
Great.
trying to just cultivate a relationship with the people in that neighborhood going forward, so things will be more upfront and a little bit smoother. He also called me looking to put a screen house for his employees near Woolshot Pond. And so I told him I didn't think it was much of an issue, temporary structure like that. So if you see some kind of tent structure near Woolshot Pond, it's my fault. See, Allstead Path, single-family home. I asked them to notify me when their mitigation and erosion controls were installed. I went over there with the town planner, and everything seemed to be as per plan. The erosion controls were installed very professionally. At the meeting, at a pre-construction meeting, the fire chief spoke of perhaps needing a fire hydrant in that area, but I'm not sure what's developed from that. I haven't got an answer back. And there were complaints from a few of the abutters that the access down Allstead Path is now blocked because of the construction. And so there's a couple unhappy folks who own property further down that. It's a paper road. It's not really even a street. So nobody's clear on an understanding of what kind of legal access they have to that. So I'm not sure what's going to go on with that. 142 Riverland Street. At the suggestion of Mass DEP, I formulated a letter summarizing the history that's gone on the project and reiterating the possibility of fines and/or jail terms for not responding, and tried to offer him a fig leaf, so to speak, in the coming back and discussing with us alternatives for the project. He responded pretty much the next day after he got that letter, and we've been in conversation about strategies for removing those logs from the riverfront area. If you recall, he cut down numerous trees, some of them large, and the commission and both DEP were after him to remove those trees. It's a large financial cost to him, so he's trying to find a plan. I emphasize that he can take, several years to accomplish this, and that we'd like to be able to work something out with him. So he may come back to the process soon, I hope.
Good, good.
Site visits. Thought I added another one. 269, 273 West Main Street. That's in here a few times. So, the 269 West Main Street address, you may know, there's a proposal to put a cell tower on the top of the hill. That's a part of the 269 address, new cell tower. Part of that proposal involves putting in a dirt roadway, which in turn would require some kind of stormwater mitigation to prevent excess stormwater from leaving the property at a rate that it hadn't before. We didn't know there were wetlands out there, but I got reports from a couple of the abutters that there were probably wetlands there. I was able to get an invitation from the cell tower's proponent, and we walked the area, and indeed, at the bottom of the hill, between that property and the McGrath Road properties that abut it, there is indeed a wooded wetland, and the wetland sheds water onto at least three of the McGrath Road properties. So, in an attempt to try not to encumber the cell tower project, I went to the Pearsons today and asked them if they could remove the fill that the operator of Rogers Feed Store has been pushing into the wetland, as reported by the abutters as part of their complaint. And the Pearsons were very responsive. This was actually Mr. Stead's idea to show up at their store and ask for a meeting, which worked out wonderfully. And they were very amenable. Mr. Pearson was open to it and said he would take care that the wetland incursion would be taken care of and that there would no longer be snow stored there. That leaves me in a position of following up on the McGrath Road properties, which have dumped yard waste and other items into their aspect of the wetlands at the back of the property. So we're gonna still have to unravel this, but I would anticipate some filing for this cell tower project, either an RDA or an abbreviated NOI, because they'll probably only be in the buffer zone, if that, depending on how they redesign to accommodate the stormwater. That was a lot, I know.
Good, no, I'm so glad that you're starting to sort that out. That's wonderful, and I'm so glad you're able to meet and talk to Bob and his son. That was good, that's great.
And I told them it was your recommendation, so I dropped your name.
Very good.
Goes a long way in Millbury.
Actually, well, anyway, go ahead.
After it was done, I told them. I
I had to
didn't tell them
consult-
before.
Remember, I had to consult with my wife first.
And they mentioned your wife's name.
Very good, very good.
So, plan reviews and submittals, obviously 269 West Main Street. And today, we've been participating in the hazard mitigation planning. It's an ongoing process with the Central Mass Regional Planning Organization. They're taking the lead role in developing hazard mitigation, so the fire department, the police department, the planning department, the health department, the building department are all involved in trying to identify the possible impacts from any type of natural disaster that might have impacts on the town's ability to respond to those things, and then identify them, and with the hope of, if there are any grant monies available, to try and pursue grants so that those items could be dealt with in an appropriate manner. So that's an ongoing effort. They anticipate finishing this up early summer, and they're going to circulate a draft proposal, and then after comments, they're going to present it to the town via a select board's meeting, and after comments from that, they will issue a final document. But I thought what was of interest is I snagged copies of these for you all, and I recommend you skimming through it, because a survey was done of townspeople as to what importance they gave to various natural hazards, and what is most importantly affecting them around town. And so there's survey results in here that you may want to skim through, because a couple things that popped up are flooding is over 50% priority. And I was surprised to find that 23% of respondents thought that invasive species
Oh, wow.
were an important aspect. Then there were some fun things like rabbits. But I suggest you skim through it. You might find it interesting, and it might make you aware of some of the things that the townspeople are finding important for the town's ability to respond to.
I just had a reaction to the invasive species. That may be indicative of a large number of homes on bodies of water in Millbury. You got Ramson, you got Singletary, you got Dorothy Pond, just to name three. Interesting.
Well, regarding the flooding, we started to get questions, and the town manager didn't know how to respond to somebody. But, and it includes the gentleman at 23 West Main Street, beside 269, is high groundwater. And so I did a little research, and it's been reported through a consortium of the Massachusetts Conservation Recreation Department, the Mass Department of Environmental Protection, the UMass Hydrology Department, and the Mass Agricultural Department, that they've been tracking groundwater. And over the past 2 decades, groundwater has been rising,
No kidding.
such that now 38% of properties in the state are at risk of having some impacts from flooding.
Wow.
So the groundwater rise due to the change in weather patterns and storms that we've been getting is causing an increase in groundwater. And as you all know, most of the houses up here in New England have basements. And so at some point, the groundwater may start to impact people's properties, and particularly seasonally when we get phone calls. And particularly in low-lying areas, we got a call this from a lady near Singletary Brook. We have this circumstance on West Main Street, and people's yards stay wetter longer. It may affect agriculture.
Interesting.
So there's
Wow.
a lot of ramifications, and people don't really understand the hydrology of groundwater very well. So I think we need to be prepared to kind of assist them when the circumstances are needed to do that.
Interesting. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. See, I had a meeting with C.S. Colorio, I think it's Charles, but he goes by Stephen Colorio, discuss informally accessing his property. He owes us a restoration plan, which I have to follow up on because of the tree removal that was going on behind his property near the top of the rise on Route 146, Worcester Providence Turnpike. So we had a meeting with the town planner. He'd like to do something with that property. Let's see, 11 McCracken Road. 11 McCracken Road, this is a little bit peripheral for us right now, but there had been instances of flooding down there. The last one that I'm aware of was because of a backup in two 4-foot diameter culverts draining the water coming down off of Tainter Hill Road behind the mall and the mall property and going to the Blackstone River from the 11 McCracken Road. So right near the junction of North Main Street and McCracken Road, the water's coalesced there. They go through some stormwater culverts. Those culverts plugged up with wood and, old dead wood and debris and backed up, created a flood. It was alleviated by DOT by removing screens, but now they're coming back at the town for causing flooding because of the taking of the property that went on for the widening of the roadway there. So the town took the property so they could put an additional turning lane to go up there, and apparently they're contending that it's caused additional or excess flooding on the property, allegedly because of the change in the driveway. It's really uncertain right now because it hasn't been put into any kind of legal form that we've seen.
Not so many years ago, one of the culverts at that intersection was not functioning. It was like knocked askew or something. I don't know if
Yes.
you remember that.
Yes.
I assume that's fixed?
Yes.
Who fixed
It's
that?
fixed. Weiner fixed it because that's part of their stormwater infrastructure from the shops.
So they did finally fix it, huh?
They did. It was a difficult task for them
I know.
because of the 11 McCracken Road folks
Right.
were somewhat demanding, in my opinion.
Yes, yeah, right.
And it was a difficult let's just leave it. It was a difficult
Yeah.
project.
I'm glad to hear they finally fixed it, 'cause
Wanted to conduct, but to refresh your memory, what happened was the culvert pipe opening, similar circumstance, was clogged with debris,
that was it, huh?
and it backed up.
And it knocked something off or something, right?
It was over 20 feet up
Yeah,
that the water had to rise, and it rose with such pressure that it forced the concrete structure to come off
that
its
was it.
place,
I remember that, yeah.
and the water spilled out.
Yep. And I remember the shopping mall felt like took responsibility and tried to fix it, and then they were held up, but now I'm glad it's fixed. Great, that's good.
So the number 11, are they the ones on your notes here? They're seeking 200
Yes,
210,000 from the state or from the town?
town. So
Is that a
they
state project though, that whole McCracken Road?
well, it was a town project that was taken over by the state for reasons I'm not sure I can explain right now. But I think it was because the plan for the access and the reconfiguration of Route 146 North Main Street was undertaken and accepted by Mass DOT, and because the analysis of the intersection at McCracken Road and North Main Street was inadequate, that Mass DOT took responsibility for it, and so they're reconfiguring that intersection so that they can more adequately deal with the volume of traffic that there is. So they took the project over. They supervised all the engineering, including from VHB, who was a design company. That's why that woman showed up for the renewal tonight from VHB. They're the company. And they took it over. But the town took the land by eminent domain for $90,000.
Oh,
And now they want $210,000 more.
are they still living there?
Nobody lives there, it's a business.
Okay, it's gone.
It's
I think
the,
the original plans, when the town was talking, did not include sidewalks, and that, the state mandated that, and it caused an increase in the cost of the project and everything. If you notice it now, they did a nice job at the stone walls and the sidewalks. It
Yeah.
all looks nice except for what's going on in the background.
Right.
But
so what may be the case, you may recall that F&D construction company was getting flooded, and I spent some time down there. Maybe that happened to them too, because it's the same runway of road, but I didn't see an issue, and we received no complaints that I'm aware of. Just something to make you aware of.
Okay, please continue.
So reports and inquiries of wet soil conditions. This is where my note is about the 38% of Mass lands subject to flooding came up. And Mr. Brian Adams from 26 JFK Drive came in. JFK Drive is on the east side of town, near Wheelock Ave, in between Wheelock Ave and the Mass Pike. He has a number of trees that are leaning over his fences and house. I discussed it with him, and I told him that if he was not going to remove stumps, that we would probably allow him to take the trees down without having to do any kind of filing. And that he would come back for a filing if he felt the need to remove the stumps, because there is a wetland adjacent to it.
No problem. Continue.
That's pretty much it.
okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Just to let you know, I've got a forest cutting plan we just received, and I've got a driveway access plan for McCracken Road, just back from the rotary near where the high tension wires cross. Mr. Emmett from Emmett Tree, he wants to put a tree nursery up on that property, up there.
Okay, letters. What's the word for it?
Mail?
Mail.
We got one thing from National Grid, dated the 24th of March. They are doing some overhead electrical transmission line utility maintenance. Not really, they're just giving us a notification because they don't have to go through us for it.
Very good.
That's about it.
Minutes, March 19th, I was able to look them over. Any member have a question or concern?
I do have a quick
Any other?
question.
Yep, go
Just
ahead.
we show absent on here with the two members who are no longer on the commission. I figure the more recent one had not done their written one yet, but I just want to make sure that the minutes are reflecting who are actually the membership on the board at the time of the meeting.
Nobody's officially resigned yet. We've
Okay.
got no signed documents. That's why that got left out.
Perfect.
Oh,
That's the only question I had. Otherwise, I'm good with it.
Any other questions to come up?
Nope.
I guess we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
Well, we
make-
first need to approve these minutes.
Oh,
And I
sorry.
will move to approve these minutes.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for that.
Now I will move to adjourn.
And I'll second again.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen. Very good.
When we go off, I got a question for Don.